And we're back with Matt and Dave here on KFYO Mornings. It is 7:35 a.m. It is a Thursday. It's the Car Pro, Jerry Reynolds on line one. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, fellas. How's everybody?
I'm doing well. Hey, you look like you're slumming it this week. I think it's about, a fourth of what you drove last week as far as price-wise?
Yes, it is. Exactly. Almost exactly, matter of fact.
Man,
yes,
it must be terrible to be you and slum it in one of those.
I tell you what, guys, we're talking about the 2019 Chevy Corvette. This is the Grand Sport model. And I personally owned two of these C7 Corvettes, this body style. I bought a new one in 2014 when they first came out, and then in 2016 when the Z06 came out.
Well, I'll tell you, I love this body style.
I do too. I find it irresistible. So this Grand Sport sort of is kind of a hybrid of the two that I actually owned. It's the same car as the Z06, meaning it's got the same suspension. It's got this little wider track in the back. It's a little wider across the rear, just because the tires are bigger. But this one doesn't have the supercharger on it that the Z06 had. So the difference is 460 horses and 650 horses. So 190 horses difference. So this car really, to me, and I said it when I was filming with this car yesterday, if I could go back to 2016 and not do the Z06, I would do this Grand Sport. It is such a nice combination. And I'll be honest, the Z06 was just too much horsepower. I mean, that thing would get away from you, and the car was light, so it was hard to handle. This car is perfectly balanced in every way. Of course, it's bright red, as Corvette should be. Beautiful car, $88,000 on the window sticker, but a really enjoyable car. And I say the same thing to everybody when they say, I want to get my first Corvette. It's not a daily driver. I mean, it's not a overly comfortable daily driver. And it sits low to the ground. There's a lot of things about it that I wouldn't want if it was my only car. But, boy, what a great weekend car this makes.
Yeah, and Dave and I were kind of talking about it during the break because we were kind of going over your pictures. And I'll tell you, the biggest problem, and I had a Firebird, and I was young, and it wasn't very much fun to get in and out of. But the Corvette is even lower. And the seats are more sporty like. In other words, they're set up more kind of like a supercar, I guess, where you're almost kind of back and your feet are like way in front of you. And anyway, it's a different type of thing. And you're right, it's not something that you're gonna love to get in and drive every day.
No,
your back's not gonna like it at all, and your knees.
Yes. Yeah, especially that. I find getting in to be okay. Getting out, it's got a real high step over. And one thing this car does have that I really like is it's got what Chevy calls an easy exit seat, meaning that when you kill the engine, the seat goes back as far as it'll go and reclines. And they do help some make it a little easier to get out. But still, visibility out of these cars, there's a lot of blind spots. So that's a problem in heavy traffic when you're trying to move lanes and things. But the sound is unmistakable that it's a Corvette, and the handling, it just feels like it's on rails. It's been a great week, especially coming off that Rolls Royce last week.
So let me ask you this: you were talking about the Z06. What would the price tag approximately be on one of those versus the Grand Sport? I mean, what kind of price difference do you have? It's
about $20,000 more for the 650 horses. So a Z06 loaded like this one would be north of about 110 in a hard top.
Okay.
It'd be more than that in the convertible. In fact, in 2016, when I got my Z06 convertible, it was 113 at that time. So I imagine they're up around 120. But this will be one of the few. This will be the last C7 I'll ever have for review. Because we've got the mid-engine C8 coming out a little later this year.
And you can't wait to get your hands on that one.
That is a fact. I'm just real eager to see what that mid-engine does to this car.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every mid-engine car I've ever driven, especially, some of the really hot ones like the Audi R8. I've had that car several times.
Well, and
with that,
go
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say what I'm kind of interested to find out is how much they're going to charge for that thing.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting too. They have announced the base price, which isn't much more than today's 2019 model. But man, I got to tell you, with Corvettes, when you start putting options on them, they rise really quick. This one's got over $20,000 worth of options. And I suspect the new one, the options will go even higher than that. But mid-engine cars give the car so much balance. And it's kind of neat to be sitting right in front of that engine, especially a big engine like this car is going to have. The Audi R8 was the one that sticks in my mind as, a car that you could just make it. You could make it do all kinds of things just because all that weight right in the dead center of the car instead of all the way to the front or all the way to the back. So we'll see. It should be interesting. Big news this week, guys. We talked about it last week. Remember, we talked about the Fiat-Renault merger.
Uh-huh.
It's off.
They already broke it off already, huh?
Yeah, Fiat pulled out. They were not having any fun with the French government, which owns 15% of Renault. And Fiat Chrysler got to the table. All of a sudden this thing becomes political, and they just packed up their toys and went home.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
There's been so few successful mergers. I mean, Fiat Chrysler is one of the few, but it was one of those things where it was the right place at the right time. I think it would have hurt Chrysler, and I think it would have hurt Nissan if that merger had gone through. I suppose they could revive talks, but for now, I think it looks like it's a pretty dead deal. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll watch it. Question for you guys. Everybody's car the same color this morning?
No, mine's black. I don't know.
Mine's red.
Looking at y'all making the good NBC morning news this morning, it looked like everything would be brown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I guess you're right. We had that.
You're talking about the
storm.
Haboub.
Yeah. I didn't know it had a name. I just called it great big.
Yeah, that's the Haboub.
It's
and
a dirt
I was
wall.
noticing on Facebook, it seems like every other post, somebody took a picture of the Haboub and posted. I mean, it's we have those. Well, I won't say frequently, but every year or so we have a Haboub come through. It's
At
not,
least one.
It's not anything that's earth-shattering, but it is unusual.
Yes. When you make the national news, it must be a little bit unusual.
So you don't have Haboubs in Dallas, I take it?
I don't remember one, to be honest with you.
Well, you don't have dirt. You don't have dirt in Dallas. It's all asphalt and concrete.
Boy, ain't that the truth. and rain lately.
Boy, no kidding.
One quick note, which was good for people who follow the auto industry. When the May sales came in earlier this week, this May was right on par with last May. And it's the first month of the year that car sales have paced with 2018. So I think we all look at that as a really good sign for the rest of the year. Usually May sort of dictates the pace of the rest of the year, and if that's an indication, looks like the auto industry is going to be fine.
A very quick question. Trump's tariffs on Mexico and all the car production down there, what is this apt to do? And this will have to be a quick question, Jerry.
Yeah, if it goes through, and he does, and he's big on making statements and then getting a win somehow and making it better than it was, it's going to hurt car prices. Not this first 5%. Car companies can cover that, but when it gets into that 10% and 15% and on to 25%, it'll hurt.
That's got to hurt. All right, Jerry, thanks for the info as you every Thursday morning at 7:35. We appreciate it. And just a reminder that the Car Pro is on live 11 to 1 every Saturday right here on KFYO. More about the Car Pro at carprousa.com.